Hey everyone, J. Cole just came out with a new track earlier tonight. It's called Middle Child, and the song itself is pretty cool. It's doing some interesting things. The topic that it's going over is cool, but it seems like he insulted Kanye or took shots at Kanye, and you know how I feel about that shit. That's that shit I don't like, and this wouldn't be the first time that Cole did such a thing. So we're going to go over False Prophets and then move back into Middle Child. So if you've heard me talk about False Prophets before and you want to skip it, just kind of fast forward until you see the Middle Child page again. Otherwise, if you want to hear about False Prophets, let's get into that, shall we? So this came out in December 1st of 2016 as a promotional track for, I think it was the release of Kids on Drugs. Was that it? Or For Your Eyes Only? Or For Your Eyes, something like that. One of J. Cole's upcoming albums. And man, 2016 was kind of a wild year for Ye, right? The Life of Pablo had come out, but it was also the renewed beef between Kanye and Taylor Swift. There was a Kanye and Wiz Khalifa beef. Kanye was on Twitter still saying some like wild stuff, still saying great stuff. The St. Pablo tour, Kanye was still saying some wild stuff on tour. Just a couple weeks before this track came out was when Kanye was talking about Drake and Jay-Z and Beyonce and eventually Trump, and ended up hospitalized. So Cole said that he had written this track a couple months before like Kanye's breakdown, but he could have also not done that or added things in it and used it as cover. I don't really know, but we do know that he still released it after Kanye's hospitalization and felt pretty okay with that. So the second verse and third verse kind of focus on other kinds of people that are false prophets. But this first verse, yeah, life is a balance. You lose your grip. You can slip into an abyss. No doubt you see guys tripping. And this is kind of framing everything. Like, this is what J. Cole sees happening. And then we get what he sees. Ego in charge of every move. He's a star. This is the man that J. Cole is telling us is tripping and slipping into an abyss. And we can't look away due to the days that he caught our hearts. So a superstar that's known for his ego and had these days where he caught our hearts. Could that be Kanye? He's falling apart, but we deny it. Could that be Kanye? Justifying that half-ass shit he dropped, we always buy it. This is in the wake of Yeezus and the Life of Pablo coming out, which at the time of 2013 and even into the start of the end of 2016, people were still more iffy on the quality of Yeezus than they are today. Like in the last 2 years, the reputation of Yeezus has increased as more people have returned to it, gotten used to the sound, have a better understanding of the narrative aspects of it and the thematic development on it. Same thing with Life of Pablo. 2 years ago, right when Life of Pablo came out, it was really mixed on the opinion of it from other artists, especially from other artists with Yeezus and Life of Pablo. Despite the critical acclaim for Yeezus, fans were just like, what the fuck is this? Life of Pablo was a little better received than Yeezus in the mainstream. Critically, not so much, but it's a similar course or track happened where over time, both albums have become more and more appreciated and valued and understood. But at the time, justifying that half-ass shit he dropped was a very popular kind of criticism of new Kanye. We always buy it when you tell us he's a genius, but it's clear lately. I mean, who calls himself a genius more than Kanye? It's been hard for him to look into the mirror lately. That's really assumptive. Like, what makes Cole think that it's hard for Kanye to look in the mirror, and how could he, somebody that doesn't really know Kanye or have that kind of personal relationship with him, feel comfortable saying that kind of thing about another man? There was a time when this guy was my hero. It sounds like Kanye. That's the reason why his fall from grace is hard to take, because I believed him when he said his shit was pure, which could be a reference to crack music. The type of guy swear he real, but all around him is fake, which could be a reference to the Kardashians, Kanye living in Los Angeles, I mean, the next thing he says is the women, the dick riders, you know, the yes men, nobody with the balls to say something to contest him. Again, as somebody that doesn't know Kanye on that level at this point, that's very assumptive of Cole once again. So he grows out of control into the person that he truly was all along. It's starting to show. Like, god damn. So he's saying that Kanye is now this awful person. He's wild, he's out of control, and this is who Kanye's been this whole time. It turns out, you know that good guy you thought he was? You know the likable guy you thought he was? Nah. This is who he's been this whole time. Like, what a dick thing to say about somebody. Damn, wonder what happened. Maybe it's my fault for idolizing. And this is one of the things that annoys me the most about this song is just how important J. Cole thinks he is in relation to Kanye and in relation to all of this. Like, it's very assumptive and it's very, like, egotistical, which is what he's critiquing about Kanye, is Kanye's ego. And here, Cole's showing the superiority that really comes into play in the next few lines. Based off the words they be rapping, but come to find out, these guys don't even write they shit. Here's some new style bubbling up. They bite this shit. That's a huge accusation. Damn, that's what I get for lying to myself. Well, fuck it. What's more important is he's crying out for help. While the world's egging him on, I'm begging him to stop. Are you? You're writing this shit. That's not helpful. Playing his old shit, knowing he won't top it. Like, god damn. False prophets. Like, it's scathing, right? But at the same time, it feels very, I don't know, the self, like, the ego that somebody has to have to write something like this and feel okay saying it about somebody else, to me is very, I don't know, absurd. Like, it just, instead of feeling like good about this, I just feel like, yeah, you're just as crazy as the person that you're trying to describe, or just as problematic as the person you're trying to describe for completely different reasons. And it's just the assumptive, the superiority. So middle child, you know, we get that going on. And this song's doing a cool thing. Like, J. Cole's putting himself, is reflecting on the fact that he's between generations of artists, right? There's the newer upcoming wave of artists, and then you have the older artists like Jay-Z. Yeah, I should be thinking of other artists, and I'm just blanking. But I feel like Cole, Drake, Kendrick are all kind of in this middle group, right? And then you have like Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Eminem, Kanye, that are still the older guard. And then he has in the second verse like a perfect example. Like, he's in the lab with 21 Savage. And then he had a long talk with Kodak. But in between that, he's going to go get lunch with Jigga. Like, that's the range that he has. Because he's the middle child, he can go hang out with the young guys. He can go hang out with the old guys. But it also makes him have this perspective on where the game is currently at. And he's putting forth that perspective now. And he says a lot of things that I really like. Like, he talks about how he doesn't fuck around with drugs, how he's not worried about money for himself, but he's worried about like money for his family and friends and the people he cares about. He has this great line like, pistol in your hand don't make you real, which is getting away from a lot of the gangster attitude, which is something Kanye was all about for his entire career. But then you have these lines in the middle here, which seem to be the shots at Kanye. He talks about, just put the rollie right back on my wrist. This watch came from Drizzy. He gave me a gift. Back when the rap game was praying I'd diss. They act like two legends cannot coexist. So the game was praying that J. Cole would diss Drake. And Genius makes reference to the fact that this could be in reference to False Prophets, where he was allegedly taking shots at Drake. And if you Google Drake, J. Cole, False Prophets, you just get a bunch of results of all these articles saying, did J. Cole take shots at Kanye and Drake? And specifically, the lines would be in here. And despite this whole verse being about Kanye, you can look and there's the singular he. So J. Cole saying like he. I sound like Hugh Jackson. But then right here he says they don't even write they shit. Here's some new style. They bite this shit. And that would go beyond Kanye at that point. And that's always been the biggest knock on Drake, right? Ghostwriters, he doesn't write his own stuff. So people are thinking that this was more Drake related than Kanye related. Some tried to say too that this second part down here was always about Drake. Like always worried about the critics, not giving a fuck about what other people think. Or this whole part right here. Too blind to see you got fans and a platform to make a classic rap song. But I think this is more about somebody that never made it big than Drake, right? I would have assigned that to him, but it seems like there was tension at some point between them. And you have him addressing the potential beef with Drake that the rap game wanted, but not addressing any of the headlines about Cole dissing Kanye, right? And given the current situation between Cole and Drake and Kanye, just giving a shout out to Drake and then going into what Cole goes into, it seems like it's a shot at Kanye, and there's a reason why he doesn't mention Kanye in the song or here. I'd never beef with someone for nothing. That's the next line after mentioning Drake. And Drake in 2018, like the rap game was defined by two major beefs in 2018, and that was Drake and Pusha and Drake and Kanye. So you have this juxtaposition of him saying he's cool with Drake, and then this transition to saying like, I'd never beef with someone for nothing. You know, like other people do. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If I smoke a rapper, it's going to be legit. And what happened in 2018 was Drake trying to smoke Kanye, Pusha T smoking Drake with Story of Adidon. So it seems to be that he might be referencing Pusha T here, because Pusha T, I mean, Story of Adidon was one of the hugest headlines. Like, Pusha won the beef by revealing Drake had a child that nobody knew about. And then here, the follow-up line is, it won't be for clout, it won't be for fame. And that was one of the major criticisms when Pusha T first dissed Drake on Daytona on Infrared. People are like, why did he go after Drake? And there's some history between Pusha T and, Birdman, Lil Wayne, and so Drake, because, Drake was part of that crew. So it wouldn't have been the first time that Pusha had taken shots at Drake or people in that circle. But we know that Drake also used to idolize Pusha. So for Pusha to come at him like that, and then people just thought it was a way, because Pusha wasn't going to move numbers in the way that Kanye, Cudi, Drake will, despite the fact that Pusha is really well known in the game. He didn't have that mainstream popularity. So him picking a fight with Drake out of nowhere, a lot of people were saying, well, Pusha T just did this for the clout. He wanted the beef. I mean, there are a lot of people that still to this day think that the beef between Drake and Kanye and Pusha was just manufactured for the numbers rather than legitimate. So I'm not saying that's correct, but just people have that perspective on it, which just shows that there was that idea that this was more hollow than something that Pusha really cared about. He was only doing it for this, for the clout, for the fame. It won't be because my shit ain't selling the same. It won't be to sell you my latest little sneakers. I mean, again, the juxtaposition. He just praised Drake and then just talked about beef when Drake was in all this beef, and then talks about sneakers, and Kanye is the rapper most known for sneakers. And we know that Kanye and Drake have been beefing. So what are you supposed to do with that? What are you supposed to take away from that? That this just is happenstance, and like he happened to mention Drake, happened to mention like smoking a rapper, and happened to mention sneakers, and it just isn't a reference to Kanye or Pusha? Especially with the like stripes over checks, checks over stripes, like Adidas over Nike, all of that shit. Yeah. It won't be because some guy slid in my lane. So that could also be a reference to the fact that Kanye has talked a few times now about being jealous of Drake because Drake came up and became the #1 rapper. And Kanye still felt like he should have been the #1 rapper. And Genius has the reference to one of the times Kanye mentioned it was in the New York Times interview, where he said he was feeling jealousy and fear. And the interviewer asked him, fear of what? And Kanye said, losing ruler, king, crown. And it was this thing where it's like, okay, you're not the #1 rapper. Drake's the #1 rapper. But you're #1 with shoes or this or that. And it's like, yo, no more #1s. What's a #1 tree over there? Just be one of them. All of them are beautiful. If you cut one of these trees down, what would it be worth? Those look like $400,000 trees, just one of them. And look how many of them there are. But he also talked about it in the Charlemagne interview. The hour and 42-minute interview or something, where he's sitting with Charlemagne and Charlemagne asked him about why he was feeling like regressed in a way. And Kanye said he was feeling jealous of Drake. He was feeling like smaller because Drake was so huge. So you could see why there might be some jealousy of Drake, some of the tension that might have been there between Kanye and Drake. Because even if he was rooting for Drake, there's still that subliminal, like, man, like, kind of fuck that guy because I want to be better than him. It's kind of the same thing that led to Big Brother, right? Kanye loved and admired Jay-Z and was so thankful to Jay-Z, but he still wanted to beat his big brother. And in trying to do that, it created this sibling rivalry that caused, at the time, a falling out between them that they eventually got over, but then more falling out as the two end up being more competitive than brotherly at times. And the same thing I think could be said from Drake and Kanye. They get along, but at the same time, there's still a competitiveness between them that ends up with them fighting for these extended periods of time. And Kanye feeling a certain way because of it. But, you know, it won't be because somebody slid in my lane. And a lot of people talk about Drake picking up the 808s and Heartbreak sound, and that there wouldn't be a Drake or Cudi if it wasn't for 808s. So you could see what the reference would be there. And then Cole just moves on. Everything grows, it's destined to change. Kind of like you can't hold on to this shit, so stop whatever it is you're doing. And he goes on to say, you know, I love everybody that's younger than me. I'm glad that you came. I hope that you scrape every dollar you can. I hope you know money won't erase the pain. To the OGs, I'm thanking you now. Was watching you when I was paving the ground. I copied your cadence. I mirrored your style. I studied the greats. I'm the greatest now. So all of that last part's fine. But I think it's also this kind of like course correction. Like, Kanye's not doing it the right way. Like, let me show you how it's supposed to be done. Like, I'm thanking the people younger than me, and I'm thanking the people older than me. Where Kanye, you know, he's just wilding out, and he and Pusha are doing this shit that's just not cool. I mean, I could see people making an argument because he never names Kanye that we're just reading too much into it. I saw somebody say that they thought that this was him talking shit about Drake. And I'm sure you can make an argument for that. But I think given what he said on False Prophets, given what he said in the, I don't know if it was Angie Martinez, but he did another extended interview where he talked about Kanye and kind of spoke a bit better than how he did on False Prophets, but also still a little like, yeah, Kanye just doesn't know what he's doing. It seems like he may just have a bit of a hang up on Kanye, and that this is still taking some shots at Ye in a song that's otherwise like very, we should all coexist and get along, that he's painting Pusha and Ye as more not getting it, or kind of an example of people that are how you shouldn't be in the game, and we need more of people that are doing what me and Drake do. I don't know. I respect J. Cole. I don't. Cole World or Sideline Story is still my favorite J. Cole album, which I know will blow a lot of people's minds, but I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan, so this just kind of leaves a more of a negative taste in my mouth. But I'm still excited for what he does. I'm still very excited that other people really like get a lot of meaning from his work, and I do think what he's talking about in the song is really cool. So if you have any thoughts on this, leave a comment. Would love to hear them, and see ya.